1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 6, and David was greatly distressed. For the people spake of stoning him, because all the souls of the people were grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. Micah chapter 7, verse 7, therefore I look unto the Lord, I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy. When I fall, I shall arise. When I sit in darkness, the Lord shall be a light unto me. Amen. Hallelujah. Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy. When I fall, I shall arise. You'll stay with me for just a few minutes. I want to preach to you a thought entitled The Thrill of Victory. The one I think that stands out the most is the one that you're going to probably agree with me is Michael Phelps. 8 gold medals, setting 7 world records. The guy was just amazing in the water in the aquatic center. But he learned what the thrill of victory was. He knew what it was to have the clock going and the pressure upon him. He knew what it was to have competition. But he prevailed for 8 gold medals. Michael Phelps. 7 world records. The thrill of victory. I don't know about you, my friend, but if you've ever had the thrill of victory, it's the stamina or the adrenaline rush of that you have just won or you have just competed and you are the victorious one and you are the best and you come out on top. There's nothing like the thrill of victory. As I logged onto the internet this morning before I came to the church and I scanned the world news and the national news, the first thing that was up on there was the fight of the mixed martial arts. A big upset last night, evidently. And I don't really follow the MMA, but I read that there was an upset in the mixed martial arts, that the reigning champion, one to be expected to win, experienced last night the agony of defeat. And some new guy came on the scene and took the title from him, and he experienced the thrill of victory. My friend, can I tell you today that there is victory when and after there is a fight. If you never had a fight, my friend, there's probably never a victory. There is victory after a battle. If you've never been in the war zone, my friend, then you don't know what victory is. There is victory that takes place after competition. There is victory that takes place after a struggle. There's victory that takes place after trouble. Somebody prevails, somebody experiences the thrill of victory, and somebody experiences the agony of defeat. I'm preaching to you today about the thrill of victory in the spirit and upon this world and upon heaven. I don't know, my friend, about how you feel today, but I have purposed in my heart a long time ago that I'm going to experience the thrill of victory. There may be setbacks, and there may be things that cause me to retreat. There may be minor things and hiccups and hurdles and mountains in my way, but I want to tell you, my friend, today that I will experience the thrill of victory. We will walk on streets of gold. The gates of hell shall not prevail against God's church, because victory was paid at Calvary with the blood of Calvary. One person in the Bible that had his share of troubles was King David. You talk about the agony of defeat. He was pursued by King Saul. He had barely escaped several assassination attempts on his life. He had much time hiding and spending in the wilderness. His entire family was kidnapped for an occasion. That's right. His friends turned against him and were ready to kill him. He suffered the shame of committing adultery and murder. His son Ammon raped his daughter Tamar. His son Absalom murdered Ammon for that. Absalom led a revolt against his father. Absalom himself was killed, much to David's grief. Do I need to go on, my friend? You talk about the agony of defeat day in and day out, month in and month out, year in and year out into someone's life, and you think how much somehow goes on to call him a man after his own heart. A man after his own heart. And these 10 items that took place in his life, that if any one of us encountered one of them in this day and age, it would be one too much for us, my friend. But David here, 10 things in his family and in his situations and decisions that people had made and choices that he had made, and he was experiencing the agony of defeat. And I tell someone here today to encourage you, no matter where you are in life today, no matter what situation you feel has overtaken you, no matter what situation you feel has painted you into a corner and there is no back door and there is no escape and there is no way out. David's in his house and in his castle and gets a little visitor, and one of his friends, Nathan, came to visit him. The problem is Nathan had an agenda. David was being benevolent and kind and said, come on in. Just in the neighborhood, you passing by, glad to have you. You can come by any time. And Nathan begins to say, in essence, he goes, David, let me ask you a question. What if there was a man that had a large vineyard? He had a lot of things in a big house and toys and cars and boats and motorcycles and a big garage that parked all of his expensive cars. And he saw some little guy that had just a little old beater. And he saw some little guy living in a one-bedroom apartment. And he went and he sent for the little guy and he said, go get me his car. And so his servants went unto him and brought back, and he took it. And he said, David, what would you do with someone like that? The Bible says that basically David was enraged and upset. Show me this man. Bring him to me. Justice must be served. That's not fair. Nathan the prophet has to bring the booming words. Thou art man. David realizes his heart smote. And he realizes that what he had done, that he had reached down into the home of Uriah and Bathsheba. And their little bitty household and all they could do to make it right. And he begins to steal and he begins to take things out of another man's home, another man's vineyard. And Nathan tells him that that's not right. And David smote in his heart, Brother Jay. He feels the conviction of God and he realizes that he has erred, and he begins to reminisce on his movement and his actions and his comings and goings with relevance to this situation. And he finds an altar of prayer somewhere. He begins to cry out and begins to cry out there in Psalms 51. The whole chapter of Psalms 51, my friend, is David asking God to forgive him after killing her husband and having an affair with her. He's crying out. And that's the whole prayer of Psalms 51. When the man of God or the Word of God reached David and he realized that he had erred and he was experiencing the agony of defeat. Baby is born of Bathsheba. The husband is killed. The baby dies. No surprise to me. You can't conceive something in sin and think God's going to bless it.
That's right.
You can't live a life of sin and think God's going to bless you from the heavenlies. You can't straddle the fence and walk in light and darkness at the same time and get blessings from heaven and from God. You can't do that.
Right.
So David loses the child and he wraps himself in sackcloth and ashes and he lies before the throne of God as it were, and he writes Psalm 51, He says, God, I have sinned against you. Cleanse me, purify me, wash me clean. You have seen my iniquity, my self-will, and my comings and my goings, God, and I have sinned against you. David is at the lowest point of the agony of defeat. My friend, I'm preaching to some of you here today that maybe you've not plummeted or sank as low as David. But there are things that are in your life that are relevant to you that you feel that you are at the point of defeat in this 21st century. Maybe there's not blood on your hands. Maybe there's not some other things on your mind or your conscience, but some of us, if we're not careful, we begin to feel that we are sinking deeper and deeper and deeper and further away from God with the cares of this life and the things of this world, things that bring us in and bring us out. But I want to preach to somebody here today, if you would understand what made David a man after God's own heart. It's not his iniquity, it's not his flesh, it's not his self-will, but when he realized that he was beginning to err, and he realized that he was sinking to a point that he could not help himself, and he realized that he was overtaken with the agony of defeat, he realized, you know what, if I can get in the presence of God, I can feel the thrill of victory. I can know what God knows. I can see what God sees. I can feel the restoration power of the Holy Ghost. I can feel God's Spirit. That's the Spirit I'm preaching to you today. The thrill of victory.